Hundreds of refugees accommodated in tents under the disaster management regulations say they've been left in the dark in more ways than one. They've not been told what will happen to them now that the state of disaster has been lifted. They've also been left without power since Monday. The refugees say the generators have been taken away, leaving them in the dark and even more vulnerable. And this is taking place in Cape Town. My colleague Ayesha Ismail has been tracking this story since it actually began months ago. This issue of these refugees, Ayesha, in and around Cape Town does not seem wants to go away. And currently, as I've just said, they don't know what's next, what's supposed to happen.
Exactly, Dan. So you will recall more than 2 years ago, we saw thousands of refugees storming the UNHCR offices on Green Market Square. They were then forcibly removed from there. And you will also remember they then went into the Central Methodist Church. And then, of course, we had COVID-19. And under the disaster regulations, it was up to the government to then accommodate the refugees. And they were then accommodated in 2 tents, one in Pain City in Belleville, and also then the other one in Kensington. And what has now since happened is that they saying that now with the end of the state of disaster, they still do not know what's going to happen to them. They're saying that they've not seen any officials for over a year, and they still insisting, Dan, that they do not want to stay in South Africa. They want to be taken to a third country where they believe they will be safe. Now, what we've also heard is that hundreds of refugees have either accepted voluntary repatriation, and some of them have accepted to be reintegrated into the societies where they initially came from here in the Western Cape. But the issue now is that the refugees living in a huge tent in Kensington, they were saying that they've been without power since last Friday, and they're saying that they feel particularly vulnerable at this time when there is, this anti-African foreigner sentiment being displayed in South Africa. But I did put together a package, so let's take a listen to what the refugees had to say. About 2,000 refugees were accommodated in 2 giant tents more than 2 years ago during the COVID-19 heavy lockdown. With the end of the national state of disaster, they say they still do not know what is going to happen to them. While some have accepted voluntary repatriation and integration, hundreds are still insisting on being sent to a third country, something the Minister of Home Affairs has said will not happen.
Since last week on Friday, until now, we don't have power. But since the city of Cape Town left, until now, my sister, is a disaster. We're suffering so much. Now we don't know. They say another company take the contract. They don't come to the ground. They don't send the money. They don't send petrol. We are sick and tired. What we want, they must come connect us from the graveyard, or they must ask a city to come back to take the contract. The dead people have power 24 hours, but here, as you can see, now is cold. Nowhere to make tea, nowhere to make coffee. At night, we don't see each other.
Ndeka says no officials have visited them for over a year.
We're scared. It's Kensington. It's a bad place. And the tent, we don't have a key to close. We're sleeping like this, it's open like this. We are not saving this place. We need solution for this power. We can't suffer like this. We are human beings. And if UN is listening to us, he must do something.
The City of Cape Town referred eNCA to the Department of Home Affairs and the Department of Public Works, saying the refugees are not living in facilities owned by the city. eNCA has requested comment from the 2 departments, but has not received any response yet. Ayesha Ismail, Cape Town.